Cybersecurity in the workplace, current and emerging cyber threats. Now, cybercrime threats to enterprises encompass a wide range of malicious activities aimed at exploiting vulnerabilities for financial gain or sabotage. As technology evolves, so does tactics and techniques employed by cybercriminals. So, what we're going to take a look at today is a variety of different types of cyber threats. And as the title suggests, some of them that are current that we see a lot of and probably know a bit better because we've seen instances that have happened to enterprises, and then some that are emerging. So they are happening now and they're likely to be more common going into the future. And essentially, we need to know these because we need to protect our systems. So we'll start off by looking in the current category. So current cybercrime threats. The first one is that of ransomware attacks, where malicious software that encrypts an enterprise's data, and essentially by doing so, they've locked the actual enterprise out of their data, all right, because only they have the encryption key to decrypt that information. Now, what they do is they say to the actual enterprise, if you want us to give you that key and get your data back, you need to pay us money. And that's the whole ransom aspect. Okay, they're charging a ransom like they are kidnapping their data and keeping it from them and then making them pay in order to get them back. So that's what's involved with a ransomware attack. The next one you might be very well aware of, and that's phishing, where we get deceptive emails or text messages, and that's when it's known as smishing, designed to trick employees or customers or clients into revealing sensitive information or downloading malware. Usually, in these emails or SMS messages, there is a link, and when the link is clicked, it takes you to a malicious website. That malicious website may look like a legitimate website and ask you to enter your details, your first name, your last name, your credit card information, your logins and passwords. And the second you do that, they have that data about you, and then they use that data on the actual legitimate platform, your actual bank, your actual social media account. And then essentially, they've stolen your information. And it's called phishing because they send these messages out by spam. These email and text messages go out by spam like it's a hook on a line for a fisherman. And they're just trying to see who catches, who's going to be unfortunate enough to give their information and unknowingly know that it is a scam. Okay. And then they get a few people there and they are then able to use that data in order to steal and corrupt and cause trouble. The third category is that of insider threats, risks posed by employees or contractors who misuse their access, whether through malice or negligence. So it could just be that people are using their online account and they go to certain websites and they're entering data, but they're not actually knowing what they're entering their data into, and they accidentally do give their information to a phishing platform, okay, because they weren't thinking enough. So it's the actual employees of the company causing trouble. Now, like I said, that is a scenario of negligence, but it could also be malice too. They provide a vulnerability themselves on purpose. They're disgruntled, they leak their information online on purpose, they actually cause the cybercrime attack themselves. They're a part of a group that do it. That's when it's in a case of them doing it in the name of malice. They're intentionally trying to bring down the company themselves through being an employee. In many cases, when a cyber attack occurs, they have it one way or another, through malice or through negligence, obtained someone's login details. And then they can just easily log into a system based on that person's place in the workplace hierarchy. If they're uh, inter, ex, a high person within that company, okay, they then might have the actual permission rights to see all records of data within that company, giving a hacker their access to anything they want essentially. So if they get the right person's credentials, it just opens up that system to them and then they can do as they please with that data. So there is a lot of impact from insiders, the actual employees and the companies, for them getting their information hacked and used by a malicious entity. The final one is a DDoS attack, which stands for distributed denial of services. Okay, which is means usually it can also use bots to support this as well. An attacker floods services, systems, or networks with overwhelming traffic, which eventually make the system inoperable. It will firstly affect the integrity and start to slow the system down until it fully brings the system down. Okay, and then by doing so, it disrupts services. It makes the system no longer operational and unable to work. And it makes it very hard to bring the system back online when it's got so many fake users or viruses trying to access the actual system or platform itself. Okay, it can't handle that amount of users or fake users or simulated users trying to get into the system, bringing the system down. We're now going to jump across to the emerging cybercrime threats. So these are things now that as technology is advancing, is creating new threats that come along with it. And the first one, which is very relevant right now because it's had so much growth over the last year, is AI-based attacks. Using AI to automate attack generation, making attacks more sophisticated and harder to detect. There's a lot of levels to this, and in one of the big fears when AI it was initially released to the public in such a good form that we have it right now is, can you ask it how to do criminal things? Can you give me the code in order to break into a network? Write that code for me. There's even news of there's a jailbroken AI platforms out there that don't have the actual precautions in place to stop people asking that question, and it will actually give you code in order to do that. So that raises an ethical issue on AI when it actually supports people in doing criminal attacks. Okay, how can this attack be modified to get around this security measure that's been brought in to protect that form of attack? So there's a lot of levels to it, and obviously AI thinks quick, is very adaptive, and can be a very beneficial friend to a malicious entity in order to crack into a network. But look, AI platforms, as said, do have a lot of contingencies in place. They do have a lot of principles in place in order to prevent that information being given by the AI of that platform there. All right. And if an AI platform is seen as being able to do that stuff, it'll hopefully be taken down by the regulators of the internet there. But obviously, it's a very concerning area. The second level is the Internet of Things, IoT vulnerabilities. Okay, the exploitation of security weaknesses through the Internet of Things devices. Okay, the switches and routers and mobile devices that all make up the actual internet. Okay, the actual mechanical elements that connect everything together. Okay, when in the actual connectivity portions of the internet, they're not as secure. All right, and that might be a way that a hacker gets in. It puts himself in kind of a mid zone, taps into a certain area, and is able to intercept data while it's in transmission. All right, so that might be the way it gains access to networks or sensitive data through hopping onto somewhere within the web where there is a vulnerability and catching a ride into a more secure zone or into an enterprise in order to access that data. The third area is that of still emerging technology that we are awaiting, and when it comes, it's going to be very revolutionary: quantum computing. Advancements in quantum computing could be used to break traditional encryption methods. Essentially, quantum computing is another level. It reinvents the whole technology behind how systems work, and once it is in effect, will be much more powerful than what we currently have. So if someone who is a malicious entity has quantum technology, it will be very easy for them to crack certain networks because the technology is just so much more advanced. You can do much more processing, can do a lot more calculations that could essentially potentially guess login details, passwords, and as said here, figure out encryption codes and keys in order to break into networks and access data, just because the technology is so much more advanced. The final area as well, we've already seen starting to happen now, and it will lead to more of it happening, is that of deepfakes and disinformation. And obviously this can be seen in conjunction with AI, that it can create images that are not real, but you actually just type in what you want and it will create that image. The AI doesn't know any different. You say what you want, and then once you apply that to video, and AI video is happening now, and it is in its inception right now, we can create video scenarios that could plant someone at the scene of a crime or potentially delete someone from at the scene of a crime. All right, so the technology there is hiding criminal activity or creating criminal activity that might have never existed. And then supporting this disinformation, fake articles, okay, fake events happening that are not real, okay, causing trouble. So essentially, what we're saying here that the use of AI generated fake audio, fake video, fake text materials can either impersonate individuals and damage their reputations, or could be used to cover up criminal activity, okay, or could also be a part of phishing campaigns because the AI could assist in generating a fake website or a fake email that looks legitimate and makes people think that the news or platform is real, and then they give their data to that. So that is the big fear with deepfakes and disinformation. So I hope this video has given you an understanding of these different cyber threats, and I'm sure you've heard of a lot of them based on the news that is currently out there at the moment. It's more so on the side of current threats that of ransomware, where people have their data encrypted by the malicious entity and then are charged the fee to unlock it. Phishing, which we see all the time through our text messages and emails, where they're sending links to us and trying to scare us into that they are a legitimate business and you have to click that email to resolve a problem, doing so, giving your information. Insider threats, where employees are causing trouble for an organization, whether willingly or negligently. Okay, they're unfortunately leaking data that is opening up a vulnerability to a cyber attacker. And DDoS attacks, where systems are overwhelmed through the use of bots and viruses, okay, and all forms of malware, overloading a system or a server and essentially bringing a system down through the amount of overwhelming traffic that is being led into that actual system. And then over on the emerging side, the new things that are coming as a result of advancements in AI, in the internet, in quantum computing, okay, leading to new types of threats occurring based on better technology, with quantum computing being too overwhelming for current systems to handle. AI supporting the hacking or malicious software front by giving codes that could support a hacker in breaking into a network, okay, as well as supporting the creation of fake news, fake information, or deep fakes through the creation of fake audio and video, creating fake scenarios that are not real that might trick people, okay, into thinking things are legitimate and giving their information, or creating scenarios that may be criminal that actually didn't happen but could affect the actual reputation of individuals or businesses, even though the scenario never occurred.